We've talked a lot here on Lakes TV3 and a variety of programs, including this one about aquatic invasive species, about the tourist industry here in the Lakes area, about how important it is. 16 cents of every dollar in tax money in the state comes from tourism, and us in the Detroit Lakes area and many communities like us benefit tremendously from that. And we've talked about aquatic invasive species and, of course, the issues it poses to the potential tourism and the life we enjoy here. And it seems like we just keep going backwards and continue to lose this fight in some way. It was recently made public last week that now Lake Lida has now been infested with zebra mussels. It's a confirmation confirmed by the DNR, and they've had zebra mussels in them most likely for a while because adult zebra mussels were found in there, which makes me think anybody that's probably been in that lake in the last 2-3 years has probably had their watercraft exposed to zebra mussels. It was not a big surprise Lake Lida got infested. It's part of the Ottertail chain of lakes, which has been dealing with zebra mussels for the last 4 years, going back to when Pelican Lake was discovered to have zebra mussels on it in the fall of 2009. So where do we go from here? What do we do? It's getting more and more frustrating. The problem gets bigger and bigger every single year. I wouldn't be surprised if there are a handful of other lakes before this summer is out that are confirmed to have zebra mussels. This now brings 15 lakes in Ottertail County now infested with zebra mussels, half of those lakes within just a stone's throw of the Becker County border, being within that 10-15 mile range, mainly around the Pelican Rapids area. So how long before we can avoid this bullet? How long are we going to stay lucky? That's a good question. But what really frustrates me is this. 4 years ago, we realized that this was a problem here in the state of Minnesota. At least some people did. And the Department of Natural Resources was made aware of this problem. And I don't know why it feels like to me, in hindsight being 2020, and this is not a universal statement of all members of the Department of Natural Resources, but somebody down in St. Paul, somebody high up, I don't think had the right vision. Because I think we could have really nipped this thing in the butt and checked it had we been on the ball early. 1989 was the first time zebra mussels were really found to be in Minnesota. That's when they came to Superior Lake. And of course, some of those rivers and streams in the northeast that dumped into it were dealing with it. Basically, it was a regional problem up there. It was a Great Lakes problem. They slowly began to creep into the eastern part of the state. In 2009, finally Pelican Rapids had them and the Pelican Lake area. And since then, it has exploded. Over 200% growth in the years since of these lakes being infested. Is it too late? I fear it may be now, because just so many are infested. But it doesn't mean we don't try. Doesn't mean we don't try to stop them. Doesn't mean decontamination units in infested bodies of water is not a smart and good idea and should have been a sound policy put into effect 4 years ago. It just means it's going to be that more expensive now. Not that I'm saying that policy would have been 100% effective. Human error is always a factor, but I think it could have slowed down the number of lakes being infected. Now, I really don't know if we have another option but to look for a biological or chemical agent to treat this. The problem is, almost 25 years of research has not found one. Promising things have been found, but no silver bullet. And I don't know if we're going to find a silver bullet. In the meantime, I fear that the new normal might be dealing with aquatic invasive species in our lakes here. And that's a new normal I'm going to have a tough time getting used to. And I hope no one gets used to it. I hope there is some way to stop it. But only time will tell. But time doesn't seem to be on our side.